Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Marketplace. Coming up, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta commits to seeking innovative financing solutions to leverage investments in forest conservation as Ghana Day is marked across the country.
With international partners and seek innovative financing solutions to leverage investments in forest conservation and climate resilience. Today, I call on every Ghanaian to embrace their role as custodians of our forests.
Also coming up, farmers urged to consider the option of tree planting in diversifying their income and mitigating the impact of climate change.
It is very important that there is diversification, that there is also, of course, forest cover, that this is done in an ecological way. This is very important. So we also look how to green further this landscape, production landscapes. We think that diversification is a strategy for resilience.
Plus, business groupings disclose IMF deal halted plans to lay off workers and shut down operations.
The fact that the deal is ongoing, people have now developed that confidence in our economy. We've heard of those who, prior to this deal, were sitting on the fence looking at what will happen. After that, there have been a number of calls congratulating us, at least for the fact that we've been able to strike this deal and the fact that it will bring confidence back into the economy.
Those are your headlines. Details coming up. To stay with us. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for staying with us this afternoon. The Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has reiterated his commitment to seeking innovative financing solutions to leverage investments in forest conservation. He said the funds would be allocated to forest agencies to manage and maintain the country's forest reserves. Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, read a speech on his behalf at a tree planting ceremony to mark this year's Green Ghana Day. The Finance Ministry, led by the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry and other state agencies, planted trees to mark this year's Green Ghana Day celebration. This year's celebration is themed Our Forests, Our Health. In a speech read on his behalf, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta reiterated his commitment to seeking financial solutions to managing Ghana's forest reserves.
I am fully committed to mobilizing the necessary resources to support our forest conservation and sustainable development agenda. We will allocate funds to strengthen the capacities of our forest agencies, to enhance monitoring and enforcement mechanisms, and to provide incentives for sustainable forest management practices. Additionally, we will work closely with international partners and seek innovative financing solutions to leverage investments in forest conservation and climate resilience. Today, I call on every Ghanaian to embrace their role as custodians of our forests. Let us join hands in planting trees, protecting our natural resources, and promoting sustainable living.
Deputy Finance Minister Abnor Asari added that the ministry will explore all available options to address challenges confronting Ghana's forest reserves.
There are a number of opportunities out there that we are all trying to see how best we can take advantage of. And so very soon, Ministry of Finance will be setting up a climate division here and to take advantage of the resources, the relatively cheaper resources out there to help address some of these issues that have come about as a result of the adverse effects of the climate change.
10 million trees are expected to be planted this year as part of Green Ghana celebration. Well, joining us on Zoom is partner Deloitte Ghana, Yaolate, as we mark Green Ghana Day. Good afternoon to you. We see there are many activities going on today. I'm sure Deloitte has one. A majority initiated by the government to mark Green Ghana Day, and the motive is to push for a green economy. For the benefit of our audience, explain to us what a green economy is and why it is important now.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Daryl. So a green economy is an economy where we promote environmentally friendly and sustainable activities. So one, I will use specific in terms of the Ghanaian context. So we would have environmentally friendly mining policy and programs. So it's almost like a no to galamsey and all forms of mining practices that destroy the environment. Environmentally friendly generation of power, environmentally friendly transport sources. So once you have a green economy, some of the things that you do reduces the impact of human activity on the environment. So we are shifting away from the use of petrol and diesel powered vehicles to electric cars. So what you do is you drive your vehicle to a fueling station. Instead of buying fuel, you rather charge the vehicle. So you charge the vehicle there and you avoid buying fuel. Because when you buy fuel, the environment is destroyed right from when the crude is mined all the way to when you use it. And so when you use your vehicle that's diesel or fuel powered, you pollute the environment. Secondly, you promote what we call environmentally friendly power generation source. So instead of using light crude oil and gas to generate power, you use solar, wind, or biomass. So all the waste that you are generating from your homes, you rather use it to generate power. So you move away from all the environmental issues that we have currently to an environment or to a society where we are using environmentally sustainable practices where our climate is not affected. And it's in the news today where there are wildfires in Canada that has gone all the way to New York. It affected people in other countries. So in the same way in Africa region, we've had issues with pollution. But a few months ago, the air in Accra was so bad because of some of these environmentally unsustainable practices that we have.
And so what does a transition to green economy mean for wealth creation, for our economy, and for economic recovery as well, considering the crisis that we are faced with?
So I think the moving to green economy will help us in so many different ways. As you know, international development partners and financial institutions will more likely finance green projects than to give or support commercial lending. So historically, we benefited from, let's say, Eurobond and others. If you are in a situation like we find ourselves, and you go to market using the green bonds or using the green market initiative, and what you do is that you are likely to get investors and financiers who support the ESG initiative. ESG initiative means that environmentally, social, and governance-friendly projects. So if you go to international market and say you are building a hospital that is supposed to support mothers in the village so that you reduce the mortality rate in the village, it may be a $200 million project. It will be easily financed because it supports what we call the ESG initiative, environmental, social, and governance and sustainable initiatives. Secondly, if you go to international market and you say you are raising funds to support a project that is social compliant, and an example is where you are building affordable housing for people who cannot afford the average housing in Ghana. You will get funding from people who support what we call social bonds. So people who give money to support social bonds, hospitals, and then affordable housing, you are likely to get support for that. So I think where we find ourselves, green bonds is actually something that we should be considering. And we should have been considering some time ago. But I think it's about time we consider these alternative financing products. And the second benefit that you get is that these are relatively cheaper compared to, let's say, borrowing from the commercial market or borrowing to support any other project. If you go to the green bonds market, the interest rate on green bonds are relatively cheaper than the commercial bonds that we borrow.
Yeah, and so how well are we doing as a country now? Because even now, we don't seem to have a grip on some environmental threats such as illegal mining. So, I mean, when we talk about perception, we are not doing so well, are we?
I think it's on two fronts. On the regulation side, I'll commend the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission. They have actually outlined policies to support banks and also institutions that operate under SEC. So Bank of Ghana has issued guidelines to commercial banks in Ghana for ESG practices. So sustainable ESG banking, there's a regulation supports that. IFC, together with the Securities and Exchange Commission, has also issued something to support raising capital to green bonds in Ghana. So what we expect that to happen is that we should follow up or follow on these policies to ensure that the institutions that are reporting to these regulators are actually complying with them and supporting projects that are environmentally friendly, that are social friendly, and that will promote a sustainable environment. So we have a green economy. There's no benefit in having or supporting a mining project that's destroying the environment. There's no benefit at all. You rather support a project that will promote sustainable environment, that will support the poor, and also protect the environment that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, I mean, just a while ago, you're talking about green bonds, and I just want to know the implications if we don't fix these challenges with regards to transitioning to a green economy, because international donors are keen about this, investors are keen about this.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, as at the end of 2022, the total amount that the international community has committed to green projects is about $1 trillion, over $1 trillion. So how much of that $1 trillion has actually trickled to Ghana? So if we position ourselves, we actually start to benefit a lot more. As I said, beyond the regulation, we also want various ministries and departments to have projects that are environmentally sustainable. When you have these projects that are environmentally sustainable, so in the next budget, I would want to see projects that have been outlined by the various MPs that are what we call ESG focused projects. All ministry, department, and agencies should come up with projects and programs that support the ESG initiative. When you do that, you are likely to get budget support for these projects. So you move away from where a situation where all projects by ministries, departments, and agencies are financed from the central source, as in financed by the central government. You would have instances where these projects are financed with green bonds or green financing and coming in the form of grants or low-rated interest.
Yeah, and just a final one. These days we talk a lot about unemployment, but the truth is that there are funds out there, money's out there to support green projects. People are interested in starting green businesses, right?
Yes. Yes, so I think there are projects and there are funds available. So let me give you a broader view. So the Africa Development Bank has got the Green Climate Action Plan. That is something that has been developed, and they will roll out financial institutions in various African countries to benefit from that. There is also the global one that is based somewhere in Japan. So we call it the Green Climate Fund. The Green Climate Fund is available for both government and financial institutions. So the financial institutions will position themselves. There are strict requirements, or there are requirements for financial institutions wherever they are located to benefit from the Green Climate Fund. So you apply to get financing from the Green Climate Fund. And the financing is given to this financial institution for all linked to green or ESG friendly projects. So projects promote sustainable environment. So financial institutions and then, like I said, ministry, department, and agencies are positioning themselves to benefit from these initiatives that are available. $1 trillion has been given out to support green projects. How much of it have you benefited? If you haven't benefited, you should also to benefit.
All right. I don't know if it's appropriate to say Happy Green Ghana Day. Hope you've planted a tree. Have you yet?
Yes. In fact, last year we planted over thousands of trees. And Deloitte did something with the Forestry Commission in Govt. So what we do, we're going to water the trees that we planted last year. And we're actually monitoring it. So Green Ghana Day is in order.
That's in order. Yalate partner Deloitte Ghana. Thank you so much. While President Akufo-Addo says his government remains committed to protecting the environment and will continue to explore all avenues in ensuring the Green Ghana project achieves its purpose. According to him, environmental protection and preservation contribute positively to climate change and should be the responsibility of every citizen. The president was speaking at this year's Green Ghana Day tree planting exercise at the University of Ghana.
We're living in a time of unprecedented global environmental challenges that threaten our existence and the fate of our planet. The climate crisis is affecting our health, our livelihoods, our security, and our future, and is the major obstacle to sustainable development. In addition to this, anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions continue to be the major driver of this crisis. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, for example, reports that human activities have emitted some 2.4 trillion tons of carbon dioxide since the pre-industrial era, and half of that amount remains in the atmosphere till this very day. This means that we have already exceeded the safe level of carbon dioxide concentration that will limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, the target set by the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. The United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, also estimates that global greenhouse gas emissions need to fall by 7.6% annually between 2020 and 2030 to limit the warming of our atmosphere to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The consequences of this are already being felt across the globe. According to the World Meteorological Organization, the year 2020 was one of the 3 warmest years on record since we began measuring meaningfully temperature on our planet. And the World Bank projects that at this current rate, I encourage all students across the country to participate fully in this national exercise and contribute their share to the fight against climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, my government remains fully committed to protecting our environment and our people and contributing to global efforts to halt climate change. Government will therefore continue to explore all avenues to enhance our forest cover through afforestation and reforestation programs and protect our natural resources through community-based management and conservation initiatives. Today, your contribution is to step out, take a seedling, plant it, and make sure it grows. I encourage each and every one of you, my fellow Ghanaians, and indeed all persons living in Ghana, young and old, men and women, urban and rural, to join me on this historic day in this national tree planting exercise. We're planting for ourselves, our children, our country, and our planet. Together, let us go planting 10 million trees and nurture them to maturity.
10 million trees. Meantime, farmers are being encouraged to consider the option of tree planting in diversifying their income. Aside from being a good source of revenue generation, it is an opportunity to mitigate the impact of climate change. The Forest and Farm Facility says policies should be adopted in efforts to restore the depleted vegetative cover of the country. Nanai Aljima has more in the following report.
Research has established tree cover for cocoa farms improves yield. Nonetheless, farmers have shown little interest in growing trees because they are not guaranteed a tree tenure. Country coach for Forestry and Farm Facility, Sophie Gruels, says farmers should be educated to appreciate the economic and environmental benefits of trees on their farms.
What we try to do is diversify their farms. We think that it is very important that there is diversification, that there is also, of course, forest cover, that this is done in an ecological way. This is very important. So we also look how to green further this landscape, production landscapes. We think that diversification is a strategy for resilience. It's already proven scientifically that cocoa plants are much more be more productive if they have a tree cover, so there would be a longer cycle that they can produce.
Ghana's forest over the years is being depleted for various factors. In restoration, government is embarking on an annual tree planting exercise, with the public being encouraged to participate. Sophie Gruels suggests a review of the tree tenure regulations of the country.
There was no tree tenure, so why would you care for a tree? If you own a tree, you will care for the tree. So it's really important for incentive-wise also that these cocoa producers also could own the other trees that they are planting, and there can be all kinds of species. Of course, not one species. Also, the indigenous species are very important. So there is a whole body of work around that, which we are supporting.
The Forest and Farm Facility is a global program that supports forest and farm producer organizations in improving livelihood and climate resilience. The facility, together with the International Institute of Environment and Development and other bodies, are on field visits to its catchment. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
While away from Green Ghana Day, the IMF deal has helped in preventing fresh round of job layoffs by enterprises and shutdown of operations. That's a session by some business groupings and manufacturing firms. On PM Express Business Edition, Mark Bedu-Abuaje, who is Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industries, linked this development to economic stability brought about by the IMF program.
I'm very optimistic that the economy will rebound, but it will take some time. So my advice is that we should brace up for a difficult period for this year. Of course, if you look at the GDP growth of 1.6, as proposed by even the IMF and the World Bank, it surely shows that economic activity for this year will slow.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the beginning of good things to come. So I think we were all too expectant. So we're expecting that right after the announcement, we would have seen a massive change in the macroeconomic environment, but it wouldn't work like that. Yes, I think there's a positive sign. The fact that the announcement was made, the fact that the deal is ongoing, people have developed confidence in the economy. We've heard of those who, prior to this deal, were sitting on the fence looking at what will happen. After that, there have been a number of calls congratulating us, at least, for the fact that we've been able to strike this deal and the fact that it will bring confidence back into the economy. I believe that within the next few months, things will improve. We are likely to get a lot of funding coming in. Even if you look at the support that has been announced by the World Bank, it clearly shows that after this policy credibility, the structural reforms that will come with it will also bring in a lot of money from development partners. And then the private sector, I strongly believe that people will now begin to invest in the economy.
Now, players in the logistics industry are asking government to put in place policies which will help create the needed environment for businesses to thrive. The players said successive governments have lacked courage to implement these policies that ensure businesses, including indigenous ones, flourish. One of such disgruntled businesses is Apex Shipping and Commercial Company, whose chief executive, Prince Akutu, believes Ghana can do better. There is more in the following report.
Some players in the logistics and supply chain say Ghana's drive to develop its business environment in growing local industries, as well as attracting investors, has a long way to go, owing to lack of courage on the part of government. Chief Executive Officer of Apex Shipping and Commercial Company, Prince Akutu, says the country lacks sound policies, strong currency and other infrastructures that cushion businesses. He was speaking at the CEO's breakfast meeting organized by Ghana Investment Promotion Center at Tema in partnership with Agility Logistics Parks on the theme Revitalizing Ghana's Supply Chain, Maximizing Logistics Efficiency for After and FDI Role.
For us to be able to transform Ghana's supply chain, government has to come in to support. Look at the things we need: the infrastructure, the roads, technology, access to finance. The cost of finance in Ghana is nothing to write home about. It is very difficult to do business and to raise the capital to do anything you want to do. Use the power to build an ecosystem that is stronger than any one individual, that allows us to have trust, to know that when we put our investments in our businesses, we are protected and we can grow.
Greater Accra Regional Chair, Association of Ghana Industries, Chonam Akpelu, is much concerned about the tax burden on members.
We import most of our raw materials from abroad. When you are importing the raw materials, you are asked to pay VAT. After you finish producing the product also, you are also asked to pay VAT. It's almost like double taxation. We're asking for government to reconsider the calibration of the tax and the VAT and ensure that raw materials coming to the country do not attract taxes. We are also asking for a total support for indigenous businesses. We want the policy environment to be so clear so that people who are keen to invest in Ghana know for sure that when they invest, their investment will be protected because of clarity of policy.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Daryl, gives assurances that ideas shared at the event will be put to use.
And government, through its number of reforms, through its incentives, programs, and so on, is attracting that capital so that we can use it to leapfrog and springboard into the AFCFTA. On the export front, we have seen when the AFCFTA began operations in January 2021 that 2 Ghanaian companies were the first to export within the bloc, Gando Cosmetics and Casapreco. As we stand here today, the National Coordination Office, working with the AFCFTA Secretariat, is readying Ghanaian SMEs that constitute about 60% of our labor market to export within the bloc. And we can't do so as policymakers in silos. We have to partner with the private sector, and agility is an example of that partnership. We want to encourage those linkages. And so, frankly, this is not a talk shop. The outcomes and recommendations made at this morning's session will not be left to gather dust on the shelves because this is real.
Meanwhile, Vice President, Agility West Africa, Charlie Gasup, indicated the company's 32,000 square meter warehouses at the Thermal Prisoners Enclave would help in the efficient cycle of logistics on the continent.
And that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Economic crisis, things will get better, but not this year. Bedua Waji, you heard him say that. Read more about it on myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl. Enjoy your weekend.